And now, some quick thoughts from Man.
Well, it's about that time for another round of quick thoughts, where I give my initial impressions on shows I either missed or just didn't feel needed a whole video dedicated to them. I'll even be covering some movies I couldn't give a full movie thoughts to, so get yourself cozied up with a blanket, your significant other, your pet, or hellspawn of Satan, and let's dive right in. This was years in the making, and boy, does it pay off. This pilot started on Kickstarter by Zach Bellamicio and Tara Billinger and made its funding, with a little backing by yours truly, and managed to be just pure fun. It's very high energy, and I think that's very needed, especially when you have a setting like the Old West, which can be pretty depressing when you think about it. I mean, you're mostly looking at dirt and rocks all day and people getting shot left and right on the street. But this pilot gives a lot of fun moments that you can't get bored. It utilizes these Old West movie tropes and keeps things engaging. Rawhide and Snag are a fun duo that are just great. They're wacky and zany and play off each other pretty well, with Snag's more bad boy attitude and Rawhide's wild and sense of righteousness attitude. The pilot gives a sense there's more to them than what we're given, which works well to get people invested in them and to have a want for more. I like all the eccentric characters it gives. All these characters, be they background or side, have something going for them to leave an impression. A strong design philosophy of these rough and gruff old westerners that plays into how grueling the Old West can be. I really enjoy that aspect to it. No one character feels useless and adds more to the world this show is building on. It has a sense of grit, which I think is important for something like this. It captures the Old West feel with its use of color. It doesn't rely on any drab colors that would just make looking at it miserable. It has a dynamic feel that makes it familiar but unique. It uses slapstick in a strong manner. With its use of sound design, the impacts have a lot of weight to them, so you feel when someone gets hurt. You definitely can feel like, Jesus, that sounded like that person needs to go to the hospital. You can't help but have a knee-jerk reaction to when someone gets injured. I also enjoy the sight gags it goes for when they try to go for a more deep-cut joke. One of them just has so much to it, you just can't help but laugh at it. Now, if I had to nitpick something, I would probably say the performance for BW could kind of use a bit of touching up. Not to insult the actress or the voice director or anything, but it just feels when she talks, the inflections don't fully match the expression of the characters. She sounds deadpan, but her face gives off a bit more of an emotion. It's not bad really, but something that was just kind of on my mind as I was watching. But besides that, I think this is an excellent pilot and definitely needs to be picked up. I was right to give to the Kickstarter and definitely want more of what this crew has to offer. This is a pretty fun, nifty little spinoff. It basically captures what the troll movies are going for, with them being so upbeat. Get it? The characters are exactly like how they are in the movies. The animation, of course, has to go for a smaller detail, but I like that the designs try to emulate that yarn and wool feel the movies have. That level of detail is appreciated for this series. The humor fits right at home with the jokes you would get in the movies. I got genuine laughs from it like if I was watching the movies, which I think basically says it all about this series. Now, it doesn't do any covers like the movies in exchange for just original songs, which I think works best. If you enjoy the movies, I think you'll get the same amount of enjoyment here. It gives you what you want, and I think that's all you really need. Nothing feels too out of place, with some exceptions. Like, honestly, Branch's voice feels too deep for him. I get it, you're not getting Justin Timberlake back, but the voice here, while nice singing, can be a bit distracting, especially if you're coming off the heels of the movies. It's not bad and you may get used to it, but it's something to keep in mind. But overall, this is a fun spin-off series that you could get some enjoyment out of. Man, once Pixar was done with those sequels, they said, let's get back to basics, and that's just what they did. This felt like a true return to form. The way it had a strong universal message that resonates with everyone, I just love. I miss seeing that from Pixar, and it works great here. Joe is a character I think we all can see ourselves in, with him wanting to achieve his dream. But I love how they showcase even though you reached your dream, that's not where life begins, because it already started. It's a very important message that I think we all can understand. 22 is very fun with how they just couldn't care for a living, but learning that life is worth it. And I love how they go about them learning that lesson without using any basic means. I think that speaks much stronger for the movie than if they just use the basic stuff like finding love or finding a job or any of that simple shit. Because sometimes you find meaning in the simplest of things. It's just a strong way for 22 to go through their arc. I love the spirit world. It has a strong distinction to it that really lets it stand out from all the others we've seen in media. Its mix of 2D animation and 3D was flawless. Speaking of the animation, this might be the most gorgeous Pixar movie I've seen so far. The look and feel of it is amazing. It just captures the feel of New York perfectly. The use of jazz, which can be seen as such an underdog genre, was genius. It's underappreciated, and that fits perfectly with Joe and his wants and desires. I love its use of black culture and the details they took with this film. It just brings nice realism to it, and I really enjoy the character designs of it, with it going for a more cartoony aspect. We really could use more of that mix of cartoony designs with realistic textures and backgrounds. Now, yes, you can't talk about this film without addressing the elephant in the room, and that being Joe is a black man, but he doesn't get to be a black man for most of the movie. It does suck that a lot of the time when we have animated movies with black protagonists, they have to spend the time out of their black body, away from their black skin. It really does. But hopefully that is something Soul is starting to invoke in people, and they're starting to actually consider maybe we don't need to always change the black character. We don't need to make them change for majority. I don't know. That's just something I feel is being addressed in some way, shape, or form when it comes to Soul. Now, they semi-quell the argument a bit, but it's still present in a sense. I won't spoil it here, but you can see what I'm talking about when you watch it. Now, when you come to think of it, I don't think I could have made a movie thoughts on this, since pretty much the majority of the movie is a big spoiler. Oh well, this is still a great movie and a strong return to form for Pixar. I cannot wait to see what else they have in store. Okay, I can explain this. So this is basically a spin-off from the Trolls World Tour movie and a continuation of the first Trolls series, which was a spin-off of the first Trolls movie, which now has two series, one being a spin-off of a spin-off. Got all that? Because it's going to be on the test. But seriously, this is just fine. It plays into exactly what the first Trolls series is, but just follows up with the second movie. If you like the second movie but wanted more from the other tribes, I think this basically gives you that. You do get more characters that play into what the second movie was building on. I like this idea of a movie being made with a series that follows after to flesh things out. Sure, it can be done in a way where they just do it just to do it, but so far we've been getting some good stuff. Now, it does use more original songs just like the first series, so that's something to keep in mind. No covers here, just like the first again. It does have some differences with it using more song sequences than the original series though. And the animation definitely strays away from what we saw. This time it goes for more rigged animation, which is different from what we were used to, but not too far removed that it could hurt your enjoyment. Other than that stuff, you get just about the same thing you would before, so you'll probably enjoy this just as well. I really don't care for this. I can admit it got decent around the last two episodes, but it's still pretty weak. It uses that, "Hey millennials, this is what you sound like" humor. Like, it says stuff like avocado toast, pop culture references, the job market sucks, capitalism sucks. And it just feels like so posery, honestly. Like a corporate executive told the creatives to make the dialogue and situations relatable, and it's pretty annoying with it. Now, I'm sure that may not specifically be the case, but either way, I don't care for it. It's just stupid raunch that's just pretty mid, especially with all the goddamn references to pop culture, some of which I just don't get, like a Tom Selleck bong. What the fuck? I just asked myself, who exactly is this for until it gets to the end? The main characters were grating as hell, but they become a smidge compelling towards the end. You definitely aren't gonna like how they act at the start of it all, but they become a bit interesting with their personal problems around the end. Now keep in mind that I keep saying towards or around the end. It's 6 episodes for the season, and it shouldn't take the last 2 for it to be watchable. The animation is pretty weak until some fight scenes where it can look a bit nice. It's sort of reminiscent of that early 2000s Flash animation, but just prettied up just enough. So overall, honestly, I say it's a skip from me. Maybe if you're curious, you can give it a watch, but you're really not missing anything with it. Well, if I or you never had much incentive to watch Cartoon Saloon's other works, this will make you want to watch them. This was just amazing. Every element is pure gold in its execution. I can't express how much I absolutely love this movie. It tackles prejudice in a manner that I missed in animated media. It doesn't do that crap of trying to say, oh, well, we all need to live together in harmony with our differences. It takes a stand to say some people are just wrong in their mindset and being around them is not good for you. At least that's how I see it. Sue me. It does that trope of walking a mile in someone else's shoes with a strong sense of consequences. Robin and Maeve's relationship is so endearing. The drama of them coming from different upbringings shines through with how things turn out for them. They're just sweet together, but they have moments where their friendship is put to the test, and I think it's really cute and creates these very dramatic moments where they are very effective. There are moments that get your heart racing because you constantly wonder, are they gonna make it out okay? It's a very suspenseful movie. It's also a very beautiful movie. I love the sketchy style that can play into things when it gets rough. It just has these moments where it gets rougher and rougher and the animation gets looser. The lines just become darker, crispier, and crunchier. I just love that aspect to it. It really comes off to me as Pocahontas if it was done right. As in small historical context with colonizers trying to rule over people, but being a totally original story 100%. None of these characters are actual people in real life. You know, I think that's what works perfectly with this film. I just really love this movie and you absolutely should watch it. This had a gradual feeling for me. By which I mean, I wasn't feeling it too much at the beginning, but it got better as it went along. The theme song definitely put me in a sour mood, but thankfully the humor got genuine laughs out of me. The biggest problem I have with the song though is that it feels like it's going to end 3 times, but it doesn't for 2 of those times. It really wanted to tell a joke and it's super annoying, especially since it's not even that catchy, so it's definitely getting skipped with prejudice. Originally, I was a bit turned off by it since it just looked like another Bob's Burgers, which it does have a bit of that recipe in the mix of things, but it actually works for this. The characters just have a good demeanor to them that I honestly enjoy. The dad character almost annoyed the hell out of me, but he became funny when it was showing how pathetic and wrong he is. So that was the saving grace. There's not much to go off of as of the making of this. There's only 1 episode out because they just previewed the series. But that's neither here nor there. So far, it's a nice series that I think you can get some enjoyment out of. Just skip the intro. It's not good. You know, I meant to give this a full general thoughts, but it just kind of got away from me. Thankfully, it's all on Crunchyroll. I was pretty hyped to see how this show was gonna turn out. It looked pretty interesting with its use of Aztec culture and stories, so I'm sure this is gonna be pretty great.
8 hours later.
I was wrong! I was horribly wrong!
Man, this was kind of a letdown. I really thought it would give me a fun series, but it's just so miserable. It really dives into the awful aspects of Aztec culture with the blood sacrifices and just death and destruction, and it does not let up. I knew I was in trouble when I watched the first 3 episodes and ain't know what the fuck was going on. Just blood, death, and destruction, which I can be all for, but, you know, give me a reason for why it's happening. This just has shit going for it, and it's like, what are we doing? Why are they doing this? What's happening? This is something I feel needs to give the audience some transparency into what's going on at the very beginning. It does good by having all these Aztec elements, but it doesn't prepare the uninitiated for it in the beginning. It explains things halfway through the season, but I don't think that's the best way to get people invested. The characters also are not too engaging, especially not the main character since he comes across as super whiny. I don't hate him. Honestly, I kind of do hate him, but I don't give much of a shit about him mainly. There's honestly only one likable character in this, and that really hurts the watching experience overall. I can sort of root for the characters, but too many come across as buttholes that I'm just like, kind of hoping some bad stuff happens to y'all. Like, Jesus, because they have random personality switches. It's just, they're either too mean for not much of a reason or just too whiny. I think a thing that makes me not like them is that they have the feeling of letting their backstories define them. They act mean because they feel justified to be mean. The world shat on them, so why not shit on the world? And I can tend to go more towards characters that have a tragic backstory but have a good nature or personality to them. They also have a feeling of they don't feel like friends. You have one, maybe two of them, but mainly one of them feels like they're trying to keep the peace, and it feels like it's honestly kind of out of nowhere, like they just decide to have this heel turn and try to connect with this character, mainly the main character, and it's like, why are you doing this when you kind of wanted to kick their ass for no good reason beforehand? Like, where's this coming from? What? They try to be nice, which I'll admit I'm glad they at least have that, but it does feel like they all would never talk to each other after everything is said and done. I can't say I love the designs for the series. A beautiful show to look at with its use of Aztec designs. The animation is fine, honestly. Doesn't really get that good when it comes to fights. They can be a bit stiff for a lot of the action scenes. I feel there was a happy middle with this series if it had the characters of Legend Quest going through the show's story, more or less the characters' personalities from Legend Quest. But I'm sorry, these characters hurt my interest in this show. If it gets renewed, maybe I'll check it out, but I genuinely got annoyed watching it. Maybe someone else can get past the grading characters, but for me, it's pretty disappointing. And that's the end. Thank you for watching. Make sweet love to that subscribe button, and always remember, it's just a thought.
Thank you.